This is Smallsy Surgery.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
I'm Furiosa.
The darkest of angels. Do you have it in you to make it epic?
Hey, I'm Chris Hemsworth.
Hello, I'm Anya Taylor-Joy.
Time to fire up your motorcycle chariots
Or your preferred method of transportation.
and witness us.
Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, coming to theatres May 24th.
Guys, thanks for chatting. Congratulations on the new movie.
Oh, thank you.
Anya, obviously, was it your first time to Australia when you made the film?
Yeah, it was.
What a baptism of fire.
You know what? I loved it. It's really crazy to me. I've lived in Australia longer than I've lived in any other place for my entire adult life.
Is that
So,
true?
yeah,
Okay.
6.5 months. And so I showed up back here and I was like, wait, I know this city like the back of my hand. I went for a swim at Bronte this morning.
Oh, look at you
It's
go.
like, oh yeah.
She's
I'm
like a
in it.
local.
I'm in it.
She's more local than Chris these days.
She's my tour guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, congratulations on the film. Did you show Anya around, or had you spent much time in outback New South Wales? Because
No.
No.
Well, because we had a rehearsal period before the film began, and then our characters get sent in different directions for most of
Yeah.
the film. So we actually didn't spend that much time together.
It was unfortunate timing.
Yeah. And then we'd sort of cross paths and go, hey, good to see you, how's it going? And
Yeah.
then run off to our...
See, in my head there, what I've done there is made an elementary mistake, is I've fallen in love with the screenplay and forgot that it actually wasn't you as the kid. And then the character, I'm like,
No,
you're a liar,
but it
Spent
Chris.
a lot more
No,
time
but
together
it
when
was
she was...
But it was crazy because we met and we really liked each other, and then we literally got flung to the opposite ends of this universe. And we tried catching up at one point where I was in the war rig and he was in the monster truck, and it just did not work. We were screaming at each other across the set, and it was like, this isn't going to be a thing.
Were you
And then when it
familiar-
finished, we were like, oh wait, we really like
Yeah, at
each
the
other.
very end of the shoot, you come to my house and I was like, we should have been doing this all the time.
Damn, we should have done this the whole time.
Were you familiar with the Mad Max movies before this came onto your radar? Because I think, Chris,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, we're the same age. And growing up in Australia, I feel like it is sort of like a rite of passage. As a 10-year-old something, you see Mad Max on the TV with Mel Gibson or something for
Yeah.
the first time, and you're like, wow, that's in the middle of nowhere. But as not an Australian, was it a movie you had seen before, or did you have to get familiar with the originals?
I knew of it, and then I was really introduced into the world by Fury Road. But
Yeah,
it was such an introduction in the sense of it's my top 3 movie-going experiences of all time. That movie completely changed the way that I saw cinema. And then when I got this job, it was really fun going back and watching all of the films in some of the locations where they were shot.
Yeah.
We have where Tom Burke first, I don't think this is a spoiler, but where I'd kind of walk away from Tom Burke, that stretch of road is in the first Mad Max.
Yeah. Well, because you went to that town, Silverton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically, for people who don't know, go to the most faraway place from any city in Australia and then go further, and that's where this town is.
2 ridiculous stories. You just reminded me, I did a camel ride through Silverton.
Did you?
Yeah, completely forgot about that. How random
Where's the
and how
invite?
wonderful. Yeah, sorry, babe. And then the second one is, I remember I was in London recently walking around, and this girl runs up to me and she goes, I was your air stewardess from Sydney to Broken Hill. And I was like, shut
Wow.
no way.
Yeah, that is a small world. That is a...
That was so specific. I don't think
That-
you could get a more specific flight.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I was going to say, Chris, when they offer you, this role comes on your radar, is it a no-brainer to say yes to it?
I mean, I had a similar experience watching Fury Road. It was one of the best films I'd ever seen, and called my agent and said, whatever George is doing next, let me be a part of, or get me in a room. The script came up, I read it, I met with George, and it was basically begging to have the part, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. It's incredible.
Now, how would you both go in a dystopian future? I was watching it going, not for me.
Not for me.
I'm tapping
Yeah, do we have a
out.
choice? I'll stay here.
Yeah, no, I just was like, if it ever got to a point where that was how I had to, I don't
make
know
me
it's for
go.
me. I don't know.
I think I'd be
I love the way Anya's
surprisingly.
really thinking.
I'm
sorry.
really.
No, I
well,
reckon
no,
I could.
No, because I think about this. I think I'm surprisingly scrappy. I think I kind of look like I'd be an easy kill, but I think I'm I've got pointy elbows, and I'd like
We could team up.
get
I
my
could
way
use
out.
you as bait.
Oh yeah.
Then if it got really dangerous, I could just run away.
Well, I'll just run into the desert going, help me,
help.
help.
And then surprise you, kill him. You're like, Chris, it's safe to come out now. And then
I tend to agree, right? Like size, people may not think size is on your
Exactly.
side. Someone like Chris, we go, he would do well. No, I think he'd be the first to go.
First to go. Yeah.
Because everyone would go, that's a threat.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of
We
him.
need to cut him down to size.
Yeah.
Did you have to
eating
get
as well.
into any shape for this? Because you do spend, spoiler, most of the movie without a
Are
shirt
you
on.
in any shape, Chris?
I'm in any shape.
Are you in any shape?
Did you?
I mean,
or
I
is that
just
your
kind of-
natural? Is that your is that where you sit naturally?
Wait.
Oh no!
Can I jump into this?
Yeah.
The first time that my husband met Chris, as a joke, he said, "Looking a little skinny there, Chris," and he like completely serious. He was like, "This is the thinnest I've been in a really long time." We were
was really
both
happy
like,
you said
"Oh
that.
my god."
Right, because ever since I've like put on the sort of Thor weight, and I was coming off Love and Thunder, and it's hard to get rid of, and it wasn't a huge amount of time.
Oh,
And
we
then
all struggle getting rid of weight. Chris.
It's impossible to lose these muscles.
I wish I struggled to lose the weight.
No.
But I asked George to paint me down and make me skinnier, and he said, "Nah, too expensive." But there's sort of,
In this movie
there's been a
also.
sort of I mean, look at the original Mad Max,
Yeah.
or 3, and especially like Thunderdome and so on. There's muscles in there. There's
No.
a kind of weird like. I mean, it is another world.
Also,
It's a
for him, I
dystopian
think he
future, but
like it's part of the image. It's part of how he attracts people.
I
It's part
think
of the charisma.
he's probably the one of the very few that stays well fed.
Yeah, okay, I know, I agree.
He's the leader
Blood
of the pack.
sausage.
There's some certain advantages that come with that.
Quickly
position of
explain
power.
to me, like the chariot of motorcycles. How did that work? This is probably just more of a fan question.
No, it's so
How
cool.
did you drive that? Because I couldn't quite work out how you were turning it, and then,
It was
it
quite
must be the magic
difficult.
of movies.
No, there was a little magic in there.
Yeah.
But it that and the bike that I was riding prior to it being turned into the chariot became the extension of that later, was difficult as hell to ride as well. But everything is like this. This is the phrasing George uses is it's found objects repurposed. So everything had come from somewhere else. So that there was a radial engine from an aeroplane they'd used as the engine for that bike. So it was a piece of artwork itself, but terrible to ride.
Yeah.
To control.
I have no idea.
Good in a straight line.
Did George say that everything obviously was repurposed from something
Yeah.
else? Because I read something, and I don't know if this is true, but some of the extras were like convicts, people who had done prison
Yeah.
time or something like that, and
Yeah.
this was an
Well,
opportunity for
I mean,
them
some
to
of the-
do some work and.
Yeah, a couple of the main cast, just individuals that. This is just a nod of respect to George, but open to everybody and anyone, and then the discussion. The best guy wins, and the amount of people that he interviewed and met with in casting the film, from very different backgrounds, eclectic sort of experiences and spaces, and people. A couple of guys that had done time in prison. While in prison, had studied acting, fallen in love with it. That became their way out of the sort of the previous life and so on. And these wonderful human beings who someone was giving a second chance to. And the sort of work ethic and the productivity and due to the huge amount of gratitude from people like that and everyone on set. But an amazing, interesting group of people.
What's great about that is that, like, when you see these actors who are playing alongside you in this film, like some of them are very scary. Now you don't know, are they scary because they were acting or scary because they learned like the school of hard knocks, right?
I have to say, everyone had the most beautiful heart, and everyone really showed up wanting to give everything, not only to George, but to this process and to this world. Like, just the excitement was palpable every single day. There wasn't anybody that didn't want to be there, and that's just a beautiful energy to make a film with.
Absolutely. One last question for you, Anya, and I'm sure you've spoken about this a million times, but apparently English not your first language, right?
No, Spanish, yeah.
Yes, and you learned to speak English watching School of Rock and Harry Potter movies. Is this the story?
Yeah,
Or is...
I learned to speak English reading Harry Potter, because I
Okay.
couldn't read the first time that I came over to the UK. But yeah, it was a lot of School
Did
of Rock
Chris
and-
in Home and Away teach you any English in your days in
We
the
just
UK?
watched some just then.
I just watched my first clip of Chris in Home and Away, and I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, it made me
my new
uncomfortable.
TV
Yeah,
show.
it was like flashbacks. It was like war flashbacks for him. Guys, congrats on the movie. Congratulations. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks so
so
much.
much.
Smallsy Surgery.
Is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.